So I do believe that we need to have an energy transition. And I use the word transition because one cannot take the energy sources of today and just switch them off and then flip over and switch on the other energy sources. So I think we need to, between now and 2050, we need to actually have a very clear program of how we're going to transition our energy. I do believe that our grid system is highly inefficient. And I think we need to redesign how we supply electrons, whether it be to a person in the street or whether it be to a business. And I always look at the cell phone as a disruptor. And you think about the telecommunications world, where a landline was the only device that you could use to communicate on.
Yeah.
And when you look at the advent of a cell phone, it's now no longer a cell phone, it's a mobile device because it's become more than just a communication device. And I think when you look at energy, because we have developed this grid system that's highly inefficient and highly complex, I think that has to be changed. And so, I believe in thinking about microgrids, and I think a combination of energy systems. So, the biggest consumer, certainly in Canada, my experience, the biggest consumer of peak power is the population. So when a person comes home and decides it's a hot day and switches on the air conditioner, the grid has to respond by supplying the electrons so that the person can run the air conditioner. So you've got this very complex power supply system that is being pulled upon to supply peak power demands because of the man in the street, the person in the street. And I think that's a flaw in our system. So we have a lot of latent capacity in our sector, which is just there to supply that peak power. But it could be running 24/7, but it doesn't because it's needed for that peak power. And we've even got one of the companies I'm with, we've got what they call peakers, and it stands idle all the time. And when they need peak power, the regulator calls us and says, switch on, and we supply the power. And we get paid incredible amount of money so we can keep the thing standing for all year. Those are things that I think through this energy transition need to be done. The second thing in mining is many times our sites are remote. And so when you think about the grid ability to take power from an existing infrastructure hundreds of kilometers to a mine, it doesn't make sense, because when you look at your line losses over that transmission line, it's just wasted electricity where you're losing electricity by moving electrons down a very inefficient system. So I think there are solutions, whether it be small nuclear reactors, whether it be wind turbines and batteries, whether it be solar and batteries. I think there are solutions to remote locations, whether it be in industry and or society, where you've got small towns